Folks, we all have to multitask at times. There's no way around it. Life is going to throw stuff at us. Do your best to do one thing at a time. All right? Hey folks, how you doing? It is the Sunday before Thanksgiving, so Thanksgiving is literally Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 days away, Thursday. And I'm happy to let everybody know that I did finish that pruning job that I started filming. So there's a ton of footage of pruning or just day-to-day life. It takes a while for me to put all that together. But this Sunday, it's probably 11:30 in the morning, and I'm just, I'm stumbling a little bit for the last week or two, and I think I finally figured out, you know, what's going on, and I thought I'd share with you folks because maybe you understand this as well, and maybe this can be a learning experience for us all. But I've just got a ton of stuff going on right now. And I guess the thing of it is there's not really like one major thing. There's just a ton of small things that I keep thinking about, and they just keep wearing me down. And I believe the term is multitasking. You know, we try to focus on like 50 different things at once rather than doing one thing at a time. And I know our society says to do 50 things at once, but I just want to go through a list of everything that's in my mind right now. So while you're seeing me just sitting here on a sunny day, could do a great video about feeding the birds, let me just go through a few things. So the first thing was I literally just finished doing a job which was about a 30-minute drive away from here. However, the work on that job was working in a house that had basically been neglected for 10 to 15 years. It was a really overgrown landscape, and I knew it was going to take a ton of time. There was no easy way to do that job. It was going to be a slog fest, you know? You weren't just going to blow in, make it look pretty. I mean, I guess you could blow in, make it look pretty in a day or two and get out. That's not the way I do things. So that was the first thing. Now, to do that job, I had to stop working on this job in the basement. So what I've been doing is up here, there used to be insulation. So I pulled all the insulation out, and I've been, you know, vacuuming up the debris, wearing a lot of, you know, PPE, good ventilation. But I've been cleaning out this space and kind of figuring out what I want to do, because a lot of cold air gets in this way, and unfortunately this is where there's a lot of mouse activity as well. So I've been working on this, and the way this one's been going is, you know, I've been working on this for 2 to 3 hours a day. You know, it's nasty work, it's awkward work, it's in the basement. So this was something I've been working on for probably 2 or 3 weeks. Here's the mess of tools I've got strewn across my basement, which are missing from my garage. You know, here's the mess of just my basement in general, trying to move stuff out of the way. And I want you folks to notice these 2 sawhorses here, which I usually use these 2 sawhorses with 2 2x4s to put my air conditioners right over in this corner of the basement. So I stopped working in the basement to go do a job a half an hour away. I had half of my tools scattered in the basement, not half, but the ones I use a lot, scattered in the basement. It was a bit of a thought process to figure out what I want to do in the basement, and I'll admit I made some mistakes and had to redo putting that expanding foam. So I went and started doing the work on that house that I did the videos on, but to do that work, I had to get rid of the debris. Now, I do have a pickup truck, don't get me wrong. I could have put the debris in a pickup and taken 5 or 6 trips to get rid of it. I don't really want to work that hard. I wanted to put the stuff in my dump truck and get rid of it. Unfortunately, there are laws that trucks the size of my dump truck need to be inspected annually for safety reasons, and that's totally legit. But I missed the deadline on that. So I had to get an appointment to get my truck inspected by my mechanic. And then, life happens, and it took a while to get that inspection done. Once I got the inspection done, I didn't want to use my big truck until I did some maintenance, such as changing the oil. There's a coolant filter. There was a drip. There's a water drain that every few years starts dripping because an O-ring goes bad. So before I could do that, I actually had to, I literally stopped work on that job I was working on so I could wait for the inspection, which luckily was done like a day later. Then I got the truck back, and then I could start doing the maintenance work, which, it's that catch-22 where I could have paid somebody probably $900 to $1,000 to do the work, or buy the parts myself and do the maintenance myself for, I don't know, we'll say $100 to $200. The way I run my life is changing, where I try to do stuff myself and just accept it's going to take longer, it's going to be a learning experience, but I'm not just burning money. I can actually make more money doing my stuff myself than trying to farm it out to somebody, unless I want to play the game of being a big business, which we're not going to get into right now. That's not this video. So as a result of doing the work on my truck, I bought this Multivac vacuum pump, which I really want to do a review on, and I did do a review on, and I love the thing. But that slowed me down even more doing the maintenance work on my truck. But if you're going to put content on YouTube, you need to actually film stuff and recognize that it takes like 3 to 4 times longer to do something, filming a YouTube video, than it does just doing it. So that what that ended up with is this whole mess of my workbench here. I had to go out and buy a 20-ton jack. I guess I didn't have to, but I just got so tired of trying to get under my truck and just barely fitting under it. So to change the oil, I got this 20-ton jack. And then as part of that, I wanted to get some cribbing to put under the truck. And so I got the cribbing and cut that up. And then I never really got around to cleaning this mess up in the garage. Within the first few days of starting that pruning job we talked about in the beginning of the video, the temperature dropped down, and I will admit that I'm more of a reactive than proactive type person when it comes to some things. So usually I wait for the frost to bring my plants inside, and there's a video I just put up that says how in the future I'll just know come mid-October and maybe even early October, I'll just go ahead and bring the plants inside. However, within the first couple days of starting that job, we did get our first frost. All my plants got hit by the first frost, and while I'd like to have all these plants inside the house, I want to cut back the dead foliage. I want to, see if I can get some of the leaves out of the foliage. And also, I think there may be a mouse nest in one of these plants because the cats have been fighting mice in the garage, which happens, but it's happening more often than usual. Now, a lot of you folks may know that I enjoy splitting wood, but I stopped splitting wood or slowed down splitting wood a few years ago because I got tinnitus, and I'm very, very concerned about doing more damage to my ears or the tinnitus getting louder. And I'm happy to say that the level has kind of stabilized. It's not getting quiet. I think if I work with good hearing protection and don't overdo the noise, I'll be fine. So that also led me to have, less firewood around, and my stack is dwindling. My wood supply, for this year is right here. And I've got this one pile which is well seasoned and covered, and this is going to get me through the next month and a half or so. And then I want to transition over to this, which is it's an ash tree my neighbor cut down and let me take the wood, which is extremely well seasoned, but it's been splitting in the sun. And this wood really needs to go in that Holzhausen and be covered somehow so it can dry out. Meanwhile, Thanksgiving is in 4 days, and the air conditioners are still in the windows, which, don't get me wrong, we've had years where I've left them in the window all winter. This air conditioner needs to come out as well. However, I really need to pull this air conditioner out before I bring all those plants in the garage indoors, because once I bring them indoors, they're going to be sitting right in front. Meanwhile, the wood stove really needs to be cleaned. The wood I've been burning this year has been a little bit wet. I haven't burned a ton. Maybe I've only burned 3 or 4 wheelbarrows of wood so far. It hasn't been that cold of a year. But I really like to clean the chimney before the burning season starts, or basically before the chimney gets so gummed up that you can kind of notice the draft changing. Over the summer, I changed the front main seal on my Cummins, and I basically did a ton of work on the cooling system. Pretty much anything that touched the cooling system was replaced, and replaced with OEM parts, and I did my best to do the job as well as I could. However, because number one, it was a new project which I had to do a ton of research on, and number two, because I wanted to film a video for YouTube, because I see so many videos of the first day of those type of projects, but then there's never any follow-through. I thought maybe there'd be some interest in a video like that. It took me forever. I mean, I literally worked on this for like a couple months. Not every day, but I would do a little bit, hit a roadblock, solve the roadblock, come back, do a little bit more, hit a roadblock, solve the roadblock, and do a little bit more. The project came out great. I feel a ton better about everything, but it took a long time. By this project taking a long time, it delayed me more from getting to that pruning job, which, to be honest, I knew was a big pruning job, so I was stalling anyways. And then by doing this longer, it also stalled the work in the basement, which brings us right back to where we started. And I really think that my mind and some of the ideas I have really can help people on YouTube. And I want to give this, an honest go. In the end, the message for this one is try not to multitask. Try to do one thing at a time, or try to do as few things at a time, which seems to be the exact opposite way that society's going. That's going to do it for this one, folks. Hopefully you got something out of it, or you're just like, what's wrong with this dude? I don't know. But Thanksgiving's in 4 days, so I'm going to try to get this one up tonight. And my goal for today is basically I want to get the air conditioners out and get them in the basement, because if I do that, I'm cleaning up room in the basement, and then there was some reason, then I can bring the plants inside later this week and make a YouTube video, because I think it'll be fun. And also today, I want to vacuum the house and, maybe do like a superficial cleaning of the bathrooms. Folks, we all have to multitask at times. There's no way around it. Life is going to throw stuff at us. Do your best to do one thing at a time. All right? Take care. Check this out. If you use a roll of paper towels, it gives you something at a nice height. There we go, folks. Got the air conditioners downstairs.